Hey guys, thank you for checking out this edition of Primary Tackle Mid-South Bass Fishing. I was fishing today with Jimmy Washam, fishing the Tennessee River below Pickwick Dam. As you can see, we're just kind of fishing some little current seam stuff. Water's washing over some rocks and some jetty kind of stuff. Today we were floating, just doing a controlled float. Throwing like a 3/4 ounce football head jig and just letting it bounce across the rocks, letting that settle down in those little eddy areas just a little bit so the smallmouth could run up and grab it. Caught a bunch of smallmouth that day doing this, so it was fun. We had, I don't know, probably 25 or so. Another 10 of those running in anywhere from that 2 to 4.5 pound class. So really good day on the water. It's October. Water temperatures are beginning to cool. The fish are really beginning to feed up for winter, and they are chewing pretty good. We caught a little bit of everything on this day, and we caught them in a bunch of different ways. Caught them in everything from a spinnerbait to caught a few fish on top water. Not as many as I really expected to, but we caught some even fishing backwater areas and that kind of stuff. So we're going to talk a little bit more about this here in a minute, and then we'll be right back with you. Hey, so we've been out here on the Tennessee River today with Jimmy Washam, catching some big smallmouth, having a great time. As you can see, it's kind of overcast and rainy. It's been one of those good fall October days. It's been fairly decent temperature-wise.
A little cool,
but it's a little wet today. But the smallmouth have been biting, along with about everything else. But
that's right. So, and some good smallmouth. Several 2 to 3 pound smallmouth we caught today. We had one that I call a good one, and you know, I'm really surprised as many smallmouth as we caught. We didn't catch a 5 or 6 pounder, which is always a chance down here. So had one just under 5, but we had a bunch of bites. Caught fish on 10 different baits, I think.
Yeah, I think we've caught them on a little bit of everything today. We've jerk bait, TRD, jig,
top water, swim bait, just about anything.
Spinner bait. Yeah. We ran through the whole gamut.
All the reels got to work out today.
Yeah. So, guys, if we're going to show you a little video in this video on how we're catching them and that kind of thing, but you know, one of the big things to remember is you're always looking for those current seams or those current breaks. It gives them smallmouth that place to hide behind, gives them somewhere for that forage to hide behind, and gives them an ambush point. So any other tips for fishing down here on the river?
David hit the nail on the head. These fish are setting up on places where they can ambush shad, current seams, current eddies, drop-offs that are swept by the current. It's really pretty simple fishing once you get it figured out. You kind of have to adjust day to day as the water level fluctuates, but if you stick with it, we started out pretty slow. It took us 3 or 4 hours to get it figured out, but then we got to catching some fish and turned it into a really good day.
Yeah, very much so. So, guys, if you haven't ever tried it, give us a shot. Come out and try this. If you have any questions, feel free to run by the store, holler at me. I'd be happy to help you with anything, bait selection, that kind of thing. We caught them on a little bit of everything, like we said, but it's you know, it's always a fun time. So
that's right, David. I appreciate you fishing with me.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks, Jimmy. Well, here's Jimmy hooked up with another, 2.5, 3 pounder. I actually think this one was a little bit over 3, honestly, but we're fishing now with like a little the weedless Ned rig head from Flatlands Custom Tackle. You'll hear a little bit more about that in the final segment of the show here. But again, you can see the current seam right there on the outside edge. It's a big flat right along the side of the river. The current seam flows right along the edge of that flat and forms basically a little feeding area, an eddy. The boat's sitting in kind of an eddy of sorts. He's got the power poles down to help hold us in position, but nice, pretty little smallie. But throwing that little weedless Ned rig head down out there and just letting it just bounce along the bottom as it flows down through that channel, you can the fish will just pick it up and swim off and set the hook. Right here, we pulled up on this spot that morning. There were fish schooling everywhere on top of there. We caught largemouth. We caught spots. I'm fixing to catch a little spot on a jerkbait here. We caught some sea run stripers. We caught white bass. We caught smallmouth. We caught a little everything. And at one point, we actually had a school of shad that was hiding underneath the boat, and you could just sit there and you could watch little largemouth and spots just coming up and eating those shad. As you can see, I actually hooked up with that spot right there, just right there at the edge of the boat. I mean, he hit it, short lined me, and I never really even reeled it. Just sit there and just let him pull on it a little bit. It was just funny. So I was fishing a little jerk bait right there. You can see the jerk bait sticking there. But there ain't no telling how many of those little spots like that we caught that day. So it was a fun trip. Jimmy's retying, we got a good little tip for you there. Just got finished catching a really nice little smallmouth. What did he do? He clips his bait off, reties, gets everything re-rigged back up, and this fish right here that he's fixing to hook up on, he caught this fish not even 15 minutes, probably 5 minutes after he just got finished catching that other one. It was just back to back, just boom, boom. So you can see that fish just jumped out there in front of the boat. We're going to get some really good video of the fish jumping here, and it's going to be, it stays pretty, it was a pretty consistent day. I mean, we caught fish doing several different things that day. This is a nice little 4, 8, 9, if my memory serves correct, was the weight of this fish. We actually took it to the back, threw it in the live well, and so we could weigh it a couple seconds later. Another big jump. That's when I finally got the idea of, hey, wait a minute, let me grab this, because I knew it was going to take a minute to land this fish. I think we're about a minute 30 seconds, minute 40 seconds in on this, just getting all this done as far as getting this fish into the boat. So, but another good jump. But just a fun day. Caught a bunch of fish. I had originally left, was going to leave some of the audio in for this, but it was just quiet enough that I chose not to. But we're going to talk a little bit about that bait that we're fishing right now. I apologize for the poor audio on the Flatlands Custom Tackle piece of this at the very end. It was a windy day, and we just didn't do a really good. Somehow I didn't do a good enough job of blocking that wind. So anyway, watch the commercial after this, and then I appreciate you guys checking in on the video. Like and subscribe. We'll also have a link on the bottom of the YouTube channel link for how to order these baits as well. Thanks. Hey, another real quick tip and technique. One of the things that we fished with today, specifically for here in Memphis, I'm about the only dealer for them, is Flatlands Custom Tackle has a new weedless Ned rig head, and that's the bait Jimmy caught some of those bigger fish on today. What did you think of the bait, Jimmy?
I love it. I'm kind of new to this, and it's obvious. I love catching fish on TRD, and when you got one that you can expose like this and fish through wood, rocks, and still got that mushroom head, that same great up and down fall, that finesse look that you get out of the open hook with a TRD. Throwing it with the Z-Man that smallmouth did everything he could to try to shake that hook, and it held on. So I'm really impressed with that bait. If you don't have some of these, you gotta get them, especially late fall and winter when those fish start getting in wood, brush piles in the springtime. You can fish this bait anywhere, same places you catch them on the TRD with the open hook, but now you can fish it like a 4x4, just like a jig. So make sure you get you some of those at Primary Tackle.
Yep. One of the new features to this too is we do have a 2-aught version of it coming in the very near future. So that'll be another little bit bigger hook, kind of alleviate some of that as well. So hope you guys like it. Come out and check us out.